One of the things revealed by whistleblower Dawn Wooten about what was going on at Irwin County Detention Center was the apparently just like outbreak of, by choice, choosing to perform hysterectomies on female detainees. So this is the partial or complete removal of the uterus. The whistleblower said that an off-site doctor supposedly performed the surgeries on women who complained of heavy menstrual cycles, but that many women seemed to not understand what had happened. In many cases, nurses obtained consent from patients by simply Googling Spanish. And again, how little do you have to care about the well-being of an individual to not even bring in a translator to talk to them about the long-term effects of having the surgery? The fact that potentially you will not be able to have children. And indeed, that happened to individuals. And this happened to a number of individuals who didn't ask for it, didn't know what was going to happen, but they were at the mercy of these facilities. And these facilities apparently thought, it'll shut them up. And what do you know? Maybe we stop some of these people from reproducing in the future. That is a story that we have seen played out in America many, many times over its history, the sort of callous disregard for reproductive health and freedom. And we're seeing it not 100 years ago, 50 years ago, but playing out every day at these facilities.
It's terrible.
I know, yeah, it's.
It's, we don't just have to stop DACA, right? We'll stop them from even having a child to have the potential of the American dream, right? We will strip you of the ability to have a child potentially, right? So that we don't have to deal with dreamers who are born in America and now we've got to take care of them. So no, we don't want you by chance end up in America to have a baby and we have to make them a citizen of this country. No, we don't want that. And so we'll do whatever we can to you while you're in our care. And that is, people have compared Trump to Hitler. And when you think about the things that he does, right? And you compare what happened in that period of our history, there are so many similarities that it is scary. And I can imagine that there were people who were sympathizers with Nazi Germany who were saying, but the same way that people are saying, but no, they shouldn't be here. And but no, these are human beings who do not deserve to be treated this way. And if you believe that the government should have the right to lay somebody on a table and without their full understanding of what's taking place, commence to have surgery, right, on these women and alter their bodies, and that is acceptable in this century, in this time in America, then you are no different than the people in Nazi Germany. That is my position. You are no different than them. Because there are too many similarities between what Donald Trump and his administration has allowed to take place in this era of our history and what took place in that era of our history. And if we ignore it, shame on us.
Exactly, yeah, and so we'll do our job of talking about it. But again, it's like, it's difficult to shame a person about the thing that caused them to be popular in the first place. Like, I'll ask the audience right now, if Trump came out and gave a speech and said, you know what I've got for you in my second term? Every single immigrant that we detain, we're gonna sterilize. What percentage of his support do you think he would lose?
None.
Would he lose 1%?
I don't think he'd lose any.
I don't know.
I live in South Louisiana, brother, and I talk to these people. All right, and there is a belief among some of them. They may not say these things in public because they fear that they lose their jobs or their connectivity, right? And there's some social cost if you say the wrong things at these points, that people will cancel you, and there is a benefit to the cancel culture in that regard, right? But they think it. And the reason that Trump is in power is because there are millions of people who agree with his flawed racist logic. And I do not believe that he would lose support. He has done so much and not lost support. This man said that he could go in Times Square and shoot somebody and his supporters would love him. And he has done so many horrible things as president of the United States, and they love him. 50% white Americans are still voting for Trump.
Yeah. 190,000 people. Sorry, I apologize for cutting you off there. 190,000 people have died in the pandemic. A lot of them Trump supporters, and that didn't cause. What has he lost all year? Economic collapse, worst year in American history, possibly. What has he lost? Like a point or two, maybe, and he seems to be getting it back. So no, if he announced forced sterilizations for all immigrants, I don't see how he'd lose any support. Like I know there's still some people in terms of like the race thing. It's what if we find that tape from The Apprentice with him using the N-word? And I think, what do you think? What, his followers are gonna leave him when he says that? Like,
do you think that they're not using it too?
Yeah. Like if Tucker Carlson started dropping that on his show, his ratings would go up. Like I honestly don't know what country some people think that we live in. Fox News spent all year, all pandemic, telling their audience everything they could, every irresponsible thing to maximize the chance they die from this virus. They've been wrong since day one. They're more popular than they were at the beginning of the pandemic. Like we are surrounded by people, millions of people that are immune from having their opinions changed, even when their lives are at risk. It's not enough. We're surrounded in a very real sense by people who have been trained to be monsters. Some of them might be able to be brought back into the light, but it is a very difficult thing to do. And it is difficult to even come up with something that would be over the line for these people. The forced sterilizations doesn't do it. Just gunning everyone down on the border. I don't know. Would that make him lose 1%? I don't know. It might raise his support in some border states. We're in very dark times. Really fast on the hysterectomies. There was one woman who said that her anesthesia wasn't like dialed in enough, so she was still somewhat conscious while the operation was going on. The guy was, I think this was one where he was actually supposed to remove one of her ovaries. That was the actual intent. He removed the wrong one and said during it, I got the wrong one. So he just removed the other one. And she was left without the ability to bear children, which she had not consented to in any way. The whistleblower described the doctor that they bring in this way, saying everybody he sees has a hysterectomy, just about everybody. That's his specialty. He's the uterus collector. Everybody's uterus cannot be that bad. But that's what they're doing. And who's going to protect these individuals?
So for all the pro-lifers, right? What's the difference in this guy and the people that you hate at the abortion clinic? What's the difference? He's stopping people from having babies. And in this situation, he's doing it without their consent.
Yeah.
Pro-life. The Republican Party's pro-life. Pro-life.
You set up these tests that should be, well, like, come on, you gotta have some shame. Like, if you say that you care about the ability to bear children, then you have to care about this, right? No. You believe that carrying a gun in public is the best thing a person could possibly do. Oh my God, that guy's black, get his gun. Like these tests are so easy to pass, but they don't care. You can't shame them. No, like pointing out hypocrisy, I still do it as like, it's like a vestigial organ I have that I feel like I have to do it, but they don't care. It doesn't seem to bother these people.
I think that it is a necessary moment in history, whether as painful as it is, that we are in a necessary moment in history to recognize how much work there is left to do. And without a Donald Trump, without this moment in history, I'm not sure after all of the hope and inspiration of Obama that we would have been able to realize that America still has a long way to go to be a place of liberty and justice for all.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.